Okay, so let's talk about the lead electric guitar and the roles of that part. You can think of the lead electric guitar as kind of ear candy and a little bit of support. And you can accomplish that in a couple ways. Let's say, like in low parts of the song, you could be doing like swells, you can be doing small lead lines, little melodies. Let's take a listen and see what's going on here. So right there, the electric guitar player played a melody, and then whenever the vocals came in, he backed off. So that's kind of the idea. You want to have some ear candy and some cool, like, interesting things going on, but you want to just stay out of the way of the vocals. So if they're singing, like, you need to back off a little bit so you don't crowd the vocals. So listen, so keep listening. Okay, so the guitar player there carried that melody over the second part of that verse, and that I think that was fine. You could do other things. You could be doing like swells there. He kind of continued that melody. It was getting borderline, kind of getting in the way of the vocals. Like, what do you, as a listener, what are you listening for at that point? Is your ear drawn to the vocals, or is it drawn to that electric guitar lead part during that section? And if you feel like it's drawn to the lead part, then you're competing with that vocal, so you probably want to do something a little more simpler. So he could have still played that melody a little bit, or maybe played it every other time, like skip a phrase, or he could have just kind of held out single notes or do swells there. That would have been just fine. Let's go in this chorus now. They drop out, so electric guitar player drops out. Okay, so in that section, guitar player kind of started to do a palm mute kind of rhythm, percussion kind of feel. What that did is it kind of made that verse pick up a little bit and kind of like start getting a little bit bigger, kind of gradually getting into that chorus. And then when he gets into that chorus, he really opens his guitar up, and he's doing the same thing as he did in the verse there, except for now he's opening up the notes and playing it a little bit louder, and it's lifting up that chorus to make it feel a little bit bigger. So all that's really good. Let's listen to that chorus. Okay, so he gets to the bridge and he kind of upped the ante, I feel like, as far as the intensity goes, and he started to play that part, that little palm muted kind of part on that bridge. And that sounds really cool. It kind of gives it a different ear candy, something to listen to that they haven't played before. And a lot of times the bridge is like the new part of the song. So for all the instruments, really, you want to kind of think of the bridge as like, okay, what have I been playing? And then play like the opposite of that. Because you want that bridge to really stick out from that song. The part he's doing here really does that. It feels like it's a new section and it's really moving along and the intensity's getting bigger and bigger. I really like in all these parts, the parts the guitar part is doing here, it's very repetitive, and so it's not like they're playing a lot of different notes. He's only playing like three or four notes, and he's just picking, a couple notes in that chord, and he's repeating it. And for one, that makes it easy to play because once you get those 3 or 4 notes down, you just continue that through that whole section, and you're not like necessarily searching for new notes or searching for notes and then accidentally playing a bad note. And the repetition of it becomes familiar for the listener, and because it repeats, nothing new is really going on, so it doesn't really get in the way of the vocals because it's not just playing all over the place. It has one little section it's playing and it's staying there. It's kind of staying in its lane. Another thing that you could do also is like you could even play simpler. Like always think on the electric guitar player, you want to kind of play in the holes. So when the vocal, one thing you could do that's simple is just play the notes when the vocals are not going on. Let me give you an example of playing in the holes. Okay, so that was my attempt on the fly to play in the blank spot. So I tried to wait for the lead singer to like wrap up his phrase or completely finish his phrase before I would play a lick. And that way I can add something interesting, add some ear candy to the piece, and also stay out of the way of the vocals. And that's the main part, is letting those vocals sit in the front. Not be distracted, but to support the vocal in an interesting way. One thing as a electric guitar player you want to think about is what is the keyboard playing? You kind of want to be doing the opposite of what they're doing. So if they're doing like whole notes, just covering the chords, then you can do something a little more interesting. Like you can be doing eighth notes, or you can be doing the licks and all that stuff. But if that piano player is doing like some arpeggios or doing like little fills and things like that, then you want to do whole notes or do single notes. So that way you guys don't compete with each other for that space. Because, imagine if you have the lead guitar playing a melody and then a piano player playing a different melody and then the lead singer singing at that same time. Like you have to think, for the audience, what are they supposed to listen to? What do you want their ear to follow? And so having those three different melodies happening at the same time, it's confusing on what do I listen to. It just sounds like cluttered and chaotic. So really listen to what that piano player's doing, and it's fine to talk to him, be like, hey, this verse, if you're going to do that, keyboard player, you could do the arpeggio and I'll kind of back out, do this, but on the next verse let's switch. I'll do the melodies or the lead kind of fill, and then you can cover the whole notes on that section. Just communicate that with each other and make sure everybody stays out of their way. All right, so I guess that wraps it up for lead electric guitar.